going to start. I'm so glad to see so many of you here. This is Dr. Tom Wicks, which I know you all know. He is the first one in our Healthiest Year Yet lecture series. This is a lecture series. And we're very excited that he's going to speak with us today. And then in 2 weeks at this same time, Rex McKee will speak. Then the next Thursday, we have physical therapists, and 2 weeks after that, in essential oils. But I will keep you all posted. And so Dr. Wicks is going to talk for a while, and then there'll be plenty of time for questions. So be sure to think of your questions and stuff. Okay. Oh, and we are recording this. So behave.
Oh, wow. I'll try.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for being here. I'm excited that we're having lectures that involve health issue topics, and I'm happy that I can kind of kick that off and move it in a direction that hopefully will help all of us make good choices regarding our health in the 2015 year. So thank you for being here. My background, as most of you know, is I have a bachelor's in science in anatomy and physiology. Anatomy is basically what we're made of, and physiology is how it works. So structure and function, that's my bachelor's degree. I have a master's of arts in religion with an emphasis on theology and Bible. Many people don't know that, and some who do wish I didn't have it, which you might be exposed to maybe. And then I have my chiropractic degree as well. I've been in practice here in Traer, which has been the only place I've ever practiced other than in St. Louis when I was in school and did my externship there. I've been in practice for 27 years. So the background that I have is quite varied. As a chiropractor, we don't prescribe medications, we don't do surgeries, so we're reliant on what God has put into this body to allow it to heal, giving advice, making corrections, making adjustments to how people live or how their frame works in order for their body to heal. So it's kind of a unique position to teach from, because most people, by and large, are very interested in what can I do for myself to allow my body to heal itself. Because inherently we all know that we were made to heal. Cut yourself, it doesn't bleed forever, it will heal. And our bodies are designed to heal. And so as a chiropractor, that's my role, is to help people find what they need to help heal naturally. So it's a good place to start this series. What causes our bodies to break down in the first place? And the questions won't be saved until last, because I will use this as a workshop, okay? So converse with me, if you would, otherwise it'll be very boring. What, if you could boil it all down, what's the root cause of disease? Stress. Good. What were some other things that were said?
Lack of sleep.
Okay, lack of sleep. Which is where we're going to go with this whole lecture. We're going to talk about sleep. And hopefully you'll stay awake while we talk about sleep. So, stress. There are 3 different types of stress that we are exposed to. One of the simplest ways to think of it is, they all start with T. There's traumas, injuries, accidents, falls, things that happen to us. There's traumas. There are thoughts. When we think about stress, most of us think about mental stress, don't we? We don't think about physical stress of repetitive action or falling down a flight of stairs. What we think about is the stress of dealing with choices, sometimes narrowed down for us or sometimes greatly expanded. Go buy a roll of toilet paper. I mean, do you need that many choices for toilet paper? Or anything? Toothpaste. Think back to when you were younger and you went to buy toothpaste. there was Crest, and there was
Colgate.
Okay. Go now. It's a whole aisle. All right. So the stress of decision making and the thoughts. So traumas, thoughts, and then toxins. The chemicals that we're exposed to that are largely man-made, that are in our water, our food, in our air. And so those things create a battle in our bodies for homeostasis, which basically means to keep things in balance so that we don't get sick. How does your body respond to stress? What happens to your body when you get stressed? Anybody here ever been stressed?
Your muscles tighten up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your muscles get tight, you get stiff. What else? You hurt like crazy?
No, your heart.
Oh, your heart,
Yeah.
the heart rate goes up when you're stressed out? Okay.
Can't think clearly. Worry.
Okay, worry, anxiety.
You either eat
Can't
too
think
much
clearly.
or don't eat at all.
You know, we were displaced for 6 months, as most of you know, and I wish I had this problem. When I'm stressed, that I lost my appetite. Man, stress me out, please. But it's not how it works in the Wicks phenotype, genotype, okay? We eat our stress, all right? And so, yeah, eating too much, going for the comfort foods because there's something in that food that helps relax us. Or maybe it's beyond food, and maybe it's some other crutch that does something for us chemically. All right. So our bodies with these traumas, these thoughts, these toxins produce chemicals that do everything we just talked about. Do you know any of those chemicals that are produced in your brain or in your adrenal glands or your pituitary that causes the responses that you just talked about?
Cortisol.
Cortisol is one. Okay, do you know anything about cortisol? Stress goes up, cortisol goes up. Why does cortisol go up? It will slow down your metabolism. It'll dump sugar into, or glycogen or glucose into your bloodstream so that you can do something with it, okay? So cortisol is one of them. It will also slow down your immune response. It'll cause your immune system not to function at its optimum. Cortisol will, all right? What is another chemical? So we have cortisol and adrenaline. Adrenaline gets your body ready to do what?
Fight or flight.
Fight or flight. So you're going to do what? You're going to run away from it, or you're going to man up to it. All right? It prepares your body to do something with this stress. It's a biological response to stress, to prepare your body to deal with it. Well, how much stress do we have in our modern day culture, society?
Lots.
Do you ever find yourself longing for the simpler times? Sort of? Yeah. Why?
It was so much calmer than
It was, there was a little more calm to life. I think of the Mayberry days and the front porch and sitting on the front porch at the end of the day with an iced tea or a lemonade and talking with your neighbors. And now we've moved off the back porch, or off the front porch to the back deck where we're closed, private, quiet, and we're busy. And so really there's been a shift in how we are neighbors, in how we deal with the stress load that we might have. Where before we might talk about our day, now we might close down a little bit with it. Okay? So our bodies have these chemicals that, because stress continues to build in life, our bodies continue to be driven by these chemicals. There's a lot of reasons for this, but generally, are people getting bigger or smaller? Okay. Well, they're getting bigger. And there's reasons for that. We don't work as much. We eat more. Some of the things we eat aren't metabolized by our bodies, maybe as well as some of the things that we ate as a culture 50 years ago. But part of the reason is that our society is so performance-driven that we might as well have a jockey on our backs whipping us to perform. And that constant stress produces a constant bombardment of these chemicals that cause our bodies to break down. Now, how would you go about repairing daily damage to your body? What are some things that you could do with this? Before we get there, the end result of these would be decreased sleep, oftentimes increased appetites, depression, fatigue, okay? End results of these things, depression, and fatigue. Okay. Is that a good place to live? It's not. Has anybody ever been stuck? Well, don't raise your hands, but has anybody ever felt like you're stuck there? Yeah. Okay. We all have. And that's why a talk like this is good. That's why the front porch is good, or the friendly conversation, because these are all common. All right? It's common to everybody. What can you do before this stuff here starts to become a lifestyle or a disease? I'm going to just abbreviate disease. What can you do to decrease the effects of these chemicals on your body?
Exercise.
Okay, so one is exercise. Why? What do you think exercise does for you and your body with these chemicals in your body?
Get some better chemicals that come out of that.
Good, okay. Produce a better chemical to kind of offset the catabolic. So there's two different kinds of chemicals. There's anabolic, not the Lance Armstrong type of anabolic steroids, but anabolic in that it's a building, it's improving things. And then there's the catabolic, which is the type that tears a person down. Have you ever seen a person who you haven't seen them for a year, and you see them, and they look completely different? Their muscles are wasting away, they're very thin, they're gaunt, and things aren't going well in their life because of a catastrophic event that took place. You ever seen that? Okay, we all have. That's the end result of a body breaking down, producing chemicals that are catabolic, breaking down, catastrophe, breaking down, catabolic. Exercise helps build the hormones and the chemicals that offset that and reverse that. It also brings in oxygen, because when your body is breaking down, it produces what are called free radicals, the end product of muscle cells, and organ cells breaking down, and oxygen helps wash that away, okay? I forgot to tell you I've had 5 years of nutrition and 5 years of chemistry, and I hope I'm not going too far, too fast on this, okay? But these are terms that are thrown around out there on the World Wide Web and on TV, so you probably have heard them. So exercise will help reverse some of the detrimental effects before this becomes a disease, or at least slow that down. What else?
Diet.
Diet.
Diet, good. What kind of things do you think in a diet continue to drive this in a bad way?
Sugar.
Okay, sugar. Why? Sugar is, it produces an inflammatory state in your body. And this produces an inflammatory state in your body. And so it continues that catabolic process. Do you need sugar to live? Yeah. Go for 20 minutes without sugar to your brain. Find out how that works. Not really well. That's what your brain needs. That's why it's hard to beat a sugar craving, because your brain relies on glucose to live. So it needs it. But too much will keep this process going in a bad way. What about the other way? What kind of things help slow this process down in your diet? Good. Water, right? Because the more water, it dilutes some of the bad stuff, and it helps your liver and your kidneys get rid of the toxic breakdown. Good. What else?
Fiber?
Good. Fiber. Any idea why?
Flushes you out.
Yeah, it helps keep your colon healthy. How? It scrapes it clean. All right? And that sounds maybe kind of rude, but it's really important. Colon health is really, really key to good health. All right? Normal flora in the colon. What else with diet? Anything else come to mind?
Protein.
Things that are anti-inflammatory.
Protein?
Fruits, proteins,
Vegetables.
vegetables, good. So things with color help, because things with color are vitamin rich, and they help build the chemicals that work against these as well. Good. I'm thinking oils too, fish oils, pumpkin seed oils, borage oils, oils that help your body not become inflamed, all right?
Can we ask questions during this, or you want to?
All the time.
What about coconut oil?
And coconut oil has a lot of good effect as well, as far as decreasing inflammation in the body. So coconut oil, fish oils, borage oil, pumpkin seed oils, flax oils. Oils are important. If there's one detriment to the low-fat diets of the 80s and 90s, it's that we gave up our oils. And so not only are we drying out as far as our skin goes, but it also hasn't helped us in this battle. What's the end disease look like in this battle? What's the ugly disease that nobody wants? The big what?
C.
Yeah, the big C. What is it? What's cancer?
Inflammation.
Caused by inflammation, a big part of it. What's going on with cancer? What's happening?
Cells.
Cell what?
Changes.
Cell changes. Cell what? Cells are multiplying out of control. Okay? There's areas of the body are growing too much, too fast, requiring energy from other areas that are essential to live. Okay? And so it's robbing the body of energy in order to produce cells that are out of control. It's like the train has left the tracks. That's the end point, all right? So we have a lot of treatments for cancer, and one of the things that I'm going to share with we, meaning our society, not we, Christy and me, and not we at Wicks Chiropractic, we as a society, okay? But one of the things that I'm going to share with you is probably one of the best anti-cancer healing things you can do. And you all already do it, and it's sleep. But we're going to talk about it a little bit because last year, Christy and I spent 2 weeks with friends in Mexico. We lived at their place, but we went and we visited doctors and missionaries. And went with a couple expressed ideas, and one of them was, what can we learn from these people who treat cancer a lot differently than we do and are getting results? Because it's not an economic machine, and it's not a political machine. They either get sick and die, or they get sick, they get help, and they hopefully get better, all right? So we looked at a few of the approaches that American doctors and the cutting edge of doctors from around the world use in Mexico to treat Americans, largely, to help fight cancer. And I'm not going to spill the laundry list, except as I was going to put this all together for patients who were of like mind and interested in this, I came across a website that's worth your jotting down for anybody that you know who has or is dealing with cancer that would like to look for natural ways of combating it, either instead of or in addition to conventional means. And that website, because as I was putting this together, I'm doing my research, and this website keeps coming up. It's like, they've already done it for me. And I don't want to hang my license on something that is on the edge and like, goodbye Traer, because like this chiropractor in Traer is treating cancer. I'm not. But we should look for natural answers, natural remedies. And there are many. HealYourselfAtHome.com is a good book to read. It reads like a book. It's a website, but HealYourselfAtHome.com is a really good website for you to find helpful hints, suggestions, and treatment programs for a variety of things that we might otherwise spend half of our savings on to get over. Okay? So I'll give you that. That's a nugget worth showing up for here today. All right? Well, one of the doctors that we worked with, as we were talking about types of water and nutritional programs and nutritional supplement programs, he came down to, do you know how valuable sleep is for fighting disease? And I said, well, I know it's a significant part of our life, about 1/3 of our life, and that it's important for our bodies to heal, but I think you're going somewhere with this. What is it? He said, most people don't get the amount of sleep that they need in order to stay disease-free. How many of you think 5 hours is enough sleep to stay disease-free? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So we all have our preferences. But here is the study that he quoted. 8 hours is a minimum to restore the body's chemistry for another day. Every minute after 8 hours has a compounding effect to healing disease. He said, help your patients learn not to start talking about how long they've slept, except for how long after 8 hours. Because it's in these minutes after 8 hours that real healing takes place. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? When I was in practice for a few years and my dad was working with me, Dad worked with me for 4 or 5 years in practice, and the practice was really growing, and it got to where, like, how I'm pooped. How do you do this? I'm pooped. We would go to our little getaway hideaway to Bull Shoals, Arkansas. Now, if you've ever been there, my dad back then would say, "This is where people go to die." He says, it's just like they're all waiting to die. And you look around, it's like, yeah, I agree. But I would get so tired that we'd go down for 4 days, and I would sleep, and sleep, and sleep. I'd get up and eat, go to the bathroom, and I'd sleep. I just slept. I slept for 4 days, and it was time to come home. And that was the reason for the trip. It wasn't about fishing. It was Dad would come back to the hotel. It's like, he's still asleep, and it's like, and 5 hours later he's still asleep, and just slept. And I'd come back refreshed because apparently my body needed that. But we get so that we don't get enough sleep sometimes, whether we're working or retired. Sometimes these thoughts keep us up, don't they? They really do. And that's really the big battle as far as sleep. So does anybody here consistently get at least 8 hours of sleep most of the time, other than Christy Wicks? Good. So really, do it again. How many? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, about 5 in a room of
27.
Okay, which calculates to be about what percent? 15%, 14, 15%. All right. That's about the percent of a healthy population. 15 to 20% is a healthy population. So what things can you do for those of us who don't get these healing minutes? And I don't mean, I'm not counting hours here. I'm really talking minutes. The minutes after 8 hours will do more good for healing your body than almost anything else you can do or put in. Now, what you do and what you put in really matters, because the environment that we create is 70% of our health. The other 30% is what? What mom and dad blessed you with, or didn't bless you with. Your genes, okay? Which reminds me of a joke. Okay, so when I came out of chiropractic school, I had, well, this will separate the men from the boys. And we already have, men are over here. So, when I came out of chiropractic school, I remembered, or I knew I had now a license that would allow me to fail. Okay? I was licensed by the state, and I could make it or fail. And so I knew I was incompetent, and I did, and this, you're recording it. And so I hooked up with 3 practitioners who'd been in practice for over 40 years each. Okay? One was Olaf Kraft. Anybody remember the name? Osteopath in Vinton, Iowa. Okay? Been in practice. He worked above the pharmacy. That was, if you weren't strong enough to pull yourself up those 42 stairs, he always reminded, 42 stairs up here. If you weren't, I don't know how he did it, but if you weren't strong enough to get upstairs, you weren't going to see it. So anyway, he worked above the pharmacy in Vinton for over 40 years. I spent afternoons with him. I spent afternoons with my chiropractic mentor friend, Dr. Ed Dickens, who practiced in Waverly and New Mexico and California. And I spent time with Dr. Jewell, before he passed away, in Toledo. And so for about a year and a half, I tried to learn what I could from 120 plus years of experience. And that's, by God's grace, the only reason that 27 years later, I can stand before you with a little bit of information, okay? Anyway, Dr. Ed said there's only 2 things you can inherit, okay? God, I hope I can remember the punchline. Insanity, he said insanity, you get that from your kids, and diarrhea, and that runs in your genes. So anyway, it's the minutes after 8 that we're looking for. But how do you get to 8 if you're not even close?
So here's a question, if you sleep 8,
Mm-hmm.
do naps count during the day to go toward that?
Not as well.
Okay.
Not as well. They do help, but how many of you know that if you take a nap now, like you probably normally would be, but you're being so polite, but if you took a nap in the middle afternoon, you know that if it goes too far past a certain point, it's going to be unbearable tonight. And so you either really cut it short and you just barely fall asleep and it's time to go, okay, and you set the alarm to do that, or you just avoid naps, okay, because that's a problem we run into too. So naps help, but they don't really count in that. So what kind of things can we do to get our 8 hours plus?
That's 8 hours straight without waking up.
Yeah, and preferably 8 1/4, 8 1/2.
Halfway down,
Don't drink every 7
30 minutes. She's talking.
Does that come back from breaks?
Okay. Doesn't count bathroom breaks. It does, because how many of you are asleep when you go to the bathroom? I mean, you really almost are. No, I'm kidding. But the time that you spend in bed asleep, in that long sleep time, exercise is one thing, okay? Because it brings oxygen in to the brain, it rests the brain, it invigorates the muscles, and it will help you sleep. So exercise is one. What's the easiest thing you can do if you were a non-exerciser person to exercise?
Walk.
Walk. And how long would you shoot for?
An hour.
It'd be great, okay? But if you never walked before, yeah, at least 20 minutes, okay? So if this was the first time anybody ever told you you should exercise, start working toward 20 minutes of walking, okay? So exercise will help you sleep. What else? Creating a relaxing bedtime routine. What's that look like?
No TV, no wires.
You mean not the news?
Not the
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially not the news.
Okay. So a relaxing bedtime routine. Do any of you have a routine that prepares your mind, body, and maybe soul for bedtime? Okay. I had a great-grandma, or was it grandma, who always said, always keep your accounts short. Okay? What does she mean by that? Make sure things are taken care of. Forgive where you need to forgive. Take care of things that haunt your mind at night, okay? So that you can go to bed with a clean mind, a clean heart. What is a relaxing bedtime routine? What's that look like? If somebody were coming to you and said, I just cannot get to sleep, and you said, oh, you should have a relaxing bedtime routine. What would that look like, Marilyn?
With our children, we know to give them a warm bath and read them a story.
Okay.
And say,